years, they couldn't leave the United States.
All right, so I
That's
request you stay on with us. So we're tracking further updates. We're shifting focus away from the United States of America towards Europe. We're now learning that intense Ukrainian strikes in the Belgorod region of Russia have left residents without power. The governor of Belgorod has stated that around 40,000 residents have been impacted by this shelling that has taken place. He's added that the damage to power supply facilities was caused by the strikes and has assured that all necessary work is underway to restore power to residential buildings, social facilities and commercial enterprises. Meanwhile, Russia maintains that it shot down 251 Ukrainian drones overnight. Now, this attack on Belgorod comes as Russia had earlier targeted Kharkiv, the neighboring Ukrainian territory. The front lines remain active as both Russia and Ukraine continue attacking critical infrastructure facilities. With us on the broadcast is Julia Kazdobina, Senior Fellow of Ukrainian Prism, joining us from Kiev. Thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Interestingly, we're seeing attacks, especially on critical energy infrastructure, continue on both sides of the border. Winter is setting in as well, which means that energy needs will be driving up very, very soon. In light of this, what are the consequences for the civilians in particular?
Well, attacks are happening, and actually attacking Russian energy infrastructure, that's the tactic that Ukraine adopted very recently. Russia started doing that in October 2022, and they have been unsuccessful for a while. But now that the U.S. has withdrawn its support, because a lot of support for Ukrainian critical infrastructure came from USAID, now that that support is no longer there, Ukrainian critical infrastructure is a lot more vulnerable to Russian attacks. And also Russia has modified its approach to attacking. They are now more efficient because they usually swarm, and a large number of attack or missiles or drones are directed in one place. So it's getting Ukrainian air defense system overloaded, and so Ukraine is already experiencing at least border areas, Sumy Oblast and Chernihiv Oblast. They are already experiencing electricity shortages, and some parts of Chernihiv Oblast have been without electricity supply for several days, but it's a very patchy situation because some areas are okay, some areas are without electricity. And but the Ukrainian population, we have already lived through 2 winters of Russian attacks on energy infrastructure, and so people are preparing, and they have bought electricity generators, they have bought power banks, they have bought other things that can help them get through the cold winter, and people are preparing.
And speaking of energy infrastructure in the United States of America in particular, we've recently seen Donald Trump state that he will be providing intel to Ukraine with regards to Russia's energy infrastructure. And he's also, in fact, urged NATO countries to do so as well. Up until now, with regards to the drone incursions, we've seen that NATO has taken and NATO's response is very calibrated. They're not trying to escalate at the moment, and they're not towing the line. Do you think NATO should now heed Donald Trump's call?
Well, I mean, energy is the key source of income for the Russian budget, and is the key source that finances continued Russian aggression against Ukraine. The war would have stopped if Russia stopped attacking Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine has never had any intention to attack Russia, just as NATO never had any intention of attacking Russia. But Russia started this war, and Russia continues this war. And now everybody, after several attempts to make peace, and Russia refusing to any sort of peace talks and continuing the aggression, now the only way everybody understands that the only way to stop it is to actually make sure that Russia does not have the ability to continue the aggression. And so cutting off the money, the income is one of the ways. And so I think that if they don't want to stop, they have to be stopped. And if providing intelligence and hitting their energy infrastructure is what it takes, then this is what needs to be done.
And speaking of money, how is Kiev reacting to the recent statements that have been made by Ursula von der Leyen with regards to the 140 billion euro credit and the loan that the EU is going to be giving Ukraine, and they'll be using the Russian assets that have been frozen so far? Russia has called it a violation of international law, but could this tranche actually help Ukraine in the short term?
Well, it definitely will help because, of course, with the shortages of electricity and also with a lot of Ukrainian industry destroyed by Russian attacks, Ukrainian economy is not doing as well as it used to, and also with the restriction on exports, something that Russia has been trying to impose, and so the economy is not doing very well, and Ukraine can use all the help that it can use. So it definitely is welcome, and I think any references to the international law by the Russian Federation, who violates it itself and also has withdrawn from some very important international agreements and violating and actually placing Russian domestic legislation over the international law. I think they have no right to accuse anybody of violating